Hello, fight fans! And welcome back to another Squared Circle video. We've got a smashing one for you today. We'll be looking at one of boxing's biggest stars, none other than Anthony AJ Joshua. His career has had some ups and downs. Some call him a bodybuilder or weightlifter, but he is still one of the most accomplished heavyweights in the world today. How did he do this? Let's find out. Background. Anthony Oluwafemi Olaseni Joshua was born October 15, 1989 in Watford, Hertfordshire, England, to both Yetta Joshua and Robert Joshua. Joshua lived his childhood life in Nigeria as a student in boarding school. Subsequent to his parents' divorce at age 12, young Joshua returned to the UK. He was by then just midway through the 7th year. Joshua decided to set about boxing in 2007, when he was just 18. His cousin had proposed to Joshua to give it a try, of which he did in due course. In his late teens and early 20s, AJ found himself in trouble on two notable occasions. He was charged and placed on remand in Reading Prison for 2 weeks. Speaking on Apple Music's Songs for Life, Joshua said, quote, "A couple of weeks, nothing major. I'd been charged, so it's what we call remand. So they're holding you in a secure location, so obviously you can't have an influence on any of the case, and you can't go and see certain people. Considering the tough background AJ came from, he's done incredibly well to get where he is now, and some say he doesn't get enough credit for it." Fighting style. Anthony Joshua is 198 centimeters tall, or 6 foot 5.95 inches, with a reach of 208 centimeters, or 6 feet 9.89 inches. He fights out of the orthodox stance. Joshua has a typical boxer-puncher style, where he takes advantage of his size and athletic ability to take out his opponents, while using simplicity at the heart of it. AJ certainly has the basic boxing fundamentals of a good, strong, and solid jab to help set up his power shots. He displayed this in the Andy Ruiz rematch, outboxing him to gain the victory. AJ does have a mean streak when it comes to finishing off his opponent, and will tend to pounce on them once hurt by throwing right-hand straights, uppercuts, and hooks to take them out. AJ turns pro. Anthony Joshua started boxing professionally at 23 years of age. He debuted against Emanuele Leo on October 5, 2013, and defeated Leo via first-round TKO. Joshua's notable victories include wins over Andy Ruiz Jr., Charles Martin, Joseph Parker, Vladimir Klitschko, Alexander Povetkin, Dillian Whyte, and Kubrat Pulev. AJ's main introduction to the British boxing scene was undoubtedly his bout against Dillian Whyte. Both were undefeated fighters at the time and had a genuine dislike for each other, which made for a great build-up to the fight, and everyone was tuned in. Some say they could have waited and met up down the line, but thank God they didn't, because what a show they both put on! One for the ages of boxing. The fight had everything. It was also the first time we saw AJ hurt, and no one knew how he could deal with the adversity. But he weathered the storm and stopped Whyte with a crushing uppercut in the 7th. He had his first world title fight at the age of 26 on April 9, 2016, after 15 professional fights against Charles Martin for the heavyweight IBF title. Joshua defeated Martin via second-round KO to become the new heavyweight champion of the world. A 27-year-old Anthony Joshua, with a record of 18-0 at the time, faced Vladimir Klitschko, who was 41 years old, with a record of 64-4 in a heavyweight unification fight. Joshua defeated Klitschko via 11th round TKO in a thrilling scrap to win the vacant WBA heavyweight title and retain the IBF heavyweight title. This win was significant, as albeit Vladimir was getting on in age, it was still a big step up in class for AJ, as Vladimir is a huge name and is a legend in the sport. It was tough, but he pulled through. His first loss. As you can see, AJ's had a great career up until now, as now we get into the shortcomings of his career, which first started off with a shocking loss to Andy Ruiz Jr. Ruiz, who was a 9-1 underdog, pulled off one of the greatest upsets in boxing history. AJ wasn't even set to face Ruiz, but his original opponent, Yarrell Miller, also known as Big Baby Miller, tested positive for a banned substance on the build-up to the fight. So, Ruiz grasped at the opportunity of a world title fight at late notice. Andy Ruiz scored 4 knockdowns, including 2 in the 7th round, to finish Joshua and to become the new IBF, WBA, Super, and WBO heavyweight champion of the world at Madison Square Garden, and before a global audience on DAZN. With the massive upset, Ruiz, 33-1, 22 KOs, became the first fighter of Mexican descent to be crowned world heavyweight champion. Joshua struck first, dropping Ruiz in the 3rd round with a left hook. Ruiz got right back up and dropped Joshua with a left hand on the temple, which rocked AJ and gave him instant shaky legs. With Joshua against the ropes, Ruiz knocked him down yet again with a straight right hand. All an action-packed fight it was! Joshua took this loss as a warrior, as in a post-fight interview he stated, quote, "It's no excuses, it's my own fault." Same can't be said for the rematch against Usyk, but we'll get to that, so don't you worry. Anthony was able to avenge his loss as the win got to Ruiz's head, as he came in worse shape to the rematch than he did to the original fight. AJ put on a boxing clinical, using the jab as the main tool to retrieve the belts back from the Mexican. AJ won 12-round unanimous decision to win the WBA Super, IBF, and WBO heavyweight titles back. Don't hesitate to leave a like if you're liking this video so far. Okay, back to the story. Joshua versus Usyk. Alexander Usyk, also known as the Cat, was brought to the table. You can tell from AJ's resume that he's not afraid of a challenge, and what a challenge the Cat proved to be! The fight was set on the 25th of September 2021 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. A lot was made of the ring walks, and Usyk made his way to the ring focused and looked like he meant business, in contrast to AJ, who some say he looked like he was too into the crowd. Leave a comment below on what you think of this. Usyk surprisingly took the fight to AJ, which no one expected, because he was naturally the smaller man. He put on a masterclass performance, outboxing AJ for most of the rounds, and he even had AJ against the ropes in the 12th at the end, looking like he could stop him with crushing combinations. What a fight it turned out to be! The Ukrainian produced a superb performance to see off Britain's Joshua over 12 rounds, as the scorecards 117-112, 116-112, 115-113 all went in his favor. Alexander Usyk versus Anthony Joshua 2, billed as Rage on the Red Sea, was set to take place a year later in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, King Abdullah Sports City Stadium on the 20th of August 2022. This was AJ's chance to prove to the world he can bounce back twice, but it was also Usyk's chance to prove to his country, who is in the middle of a war, to be strong and to keep on fighting. Who wants it more? Let's find out. They both went at it again, but there was a slight adjustment on AJ's part as he decided to hold the center of the ring to try and get shots off on Usyk. He tried to use his size and stature to impose his physical dominance on Usyk, also investing in some body work to slow the foot speed of Usyk down. This worked, but it still wasn't enough, as Alexander Usyk retained his titles by a split decision. The scorecards read 113-115, 116-112, 115-113 in favor of the slick Ukrainian. After losing, Anthony Joshua first lashed out with anger, dumped Usyk's belts on the ring canvas, and tried to leave, before returning, having a speech about how great Joshua was, and then that Usyk was a great athlete and got the crowd involved in actual hip hip hoorays, something hard to take as anything other than sarcastic. More than anything, it looked like Joshua had that speech at least somewhat pre-planned for his victory, and then after losing, decided, sod it, I'm doing it anyways, and then crudely tried to rework it into a speech praising Usyk. These actions certainly lost Joshua fans, and the fighter already finds himself at the center of what seems to be a smear campaign. For years, he was trashed for being too polite, too boring, or fake. Some fans suggested that was the real AJ after the fight, as he stole Usyk's moment, having a breakdown after the fight. Well, folks, it's been a blast with you all. We've reached the end of the video. If you want to see more videos like this, click the link on the screen. Please don't forget to like and comment and subscribe. Also, turn on post notifications so you're notified every time we upload. See you all next time. Peace!